Yeah, I haven't met the dog yet. Damn, you double clapped my clap.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't supposed to do that.
It's okay.
I fucked it up. Dude.
You messed everything up. This literally will not work now.
We've been recording for 4 hours, and we got to start it over, dude.
Nice. Mr. Nuff, thank you for doing this again. After, you know what, I just realized this back-to-back interviews where I previously had lost footage, and I've probably only lost footage on, 3 or 4 interviews, but I think this is Buppy was the last one we put out.
Yeah.
Shout out to Buppy, good-ass guy.
Good-ass guy.
But I think that one and then this one will be the only 2 redos we've ever done.
Yeah, because didn't you spill water?
Was that? Kilroy. Oh, Kilroy too, yeah. Dude,
Kilroy too?
Yeah.
Dude, another good-ass guy.
Do you know Max Farrell? Of Kilroy fame?
Yeah.
We have this theory that whenever he comes in the studio, things break. I don't know what it is.
It's just his vibe and energy in general.
Well, the thing is he's such a nice, cool, calm, collected guy
that's why. You would never know.
Yeah, he's like an agent of chaos whenever he comes in here. Shit just breaks for absolutely no reason, dude. It's so weird.
Yeah, but didn't you didn't it get spilled on?
The hard drive with the footage did, yeah.
Dude, what was that? What happened? You just go whoa, and then drop a bottle of water?
I don't want to expose him.
Oh, it's a Mario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was it was a yeah. But
it's okay, dude.
Yeah, I think what else was on it? It was your shoot and then Morgan, I think. Yeah, there was something else on it. There was 2. Yeah, it was 2 things, but I don't know. It was whatever.
It's fine.
It was but honestly, I wasn't that upset about it because I think I'm done with T7 hard drives. I'm fully lacy now.
Dude, whoa.
Yeah.
I don't even really know what that means.
Those hard drives, those orange
the big
ones.
Boys?
Yeah, bro.
Hell
Speaking of technological errors, though, I'm sorry about your shoot last night.
Oh, dude, yeah. It's okay, dude. We're doing it again tonight.
What was that for? It was for the cover?
It was for the cover of my new song coming out, Run It Back.
Nice,
which is
nice.
not... I mean, I have the song with Rafa coming out first, and then that... Woo! Lance just gave us a woo. And then I have that one coming out after that, which is just me.
Gotcha. Do you usually plan releases that far ahead? Are you planning out 3, 4, 5 releases ahead?
Mm-hmm. I try to, just so I have something to work on and kind of focus my working at. I don't know, I kind of need a long-term-ish schedule of a couple months.
Yeah.
So I can prioritize what to work on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, especially for releases, it just takes so long to get everything together. Video, cover,
keep talking about it. I'm gonna raise your mic.
Submitting it a week, or sorry, not a week, at least 4 weeks before. Because
you have to, right? If you want any, it's gonna fall, whatever. If you want any hope at playlisting, you have to submit 2 weeks in advance, 3 weeks in advance.
At least 4 weeks in advance.
Oh, see, yeah.
Why is this thing falling?
I don't know. It just sucks. It's okay.
It just slowly falls.
It's fine. Yeah.
Can I
hit one of those? Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
I think I could just go down.
Yeah, you just go down. Can
you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great, bro.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it is weird right now in the landscape where it's releasing a song, especially when you're trying to build a world out and trying to have a cohesive story in front of every release.
Yeah.
It's not just releasing a song, it's releasing a new chapter, a new world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's what it takes. I feel like I'm kind of trying to get over the just I'm just gonna release a bunch of music over and over again and see what happens. I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can do that anymore. Maybe you used to be able to.
What do you mean? What?
Just kind of throwing a song out there, not really doing a video or doing anything for it for your story or the world. I feel like every song has to be intentional, you know?
Oh, 100%.
You can't just throw a song out there and just be yeah, it's a song.
Especially if you're playing the singles game now, which is so much more common for any artist that already doesn't have a gigantic fan base.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so interesting to think about because it's because the thing used to be, right? It's I'm gonna go in the studio for a year, 2 years. I'm gonna work on my next record, and if people like my last record, they're gonna wait all this time. They're gonna be excited about my new one. Yeah. It's so different now.
Yeah.
That landscape is slowly fading away. I feel like that's almost gone.
Yeah, and if you don't have a ton of dude, fucking
whoa,
the cops are coming, dude.
The cuts, man, yeah.
They're dude, the Spotify algorithm cops are coming, dude. But if you don't have a massive following, you kind of have to be working every day all the time on the next thing. And you don't really honestly a lot of the time you don't have have the luxury or time of making an album. Like, I would love to just like go into a studio and like sit down and just fuck around and make an album. Like, that would be amazing.
If you could do that like tomorrow, what do you think? Would you have like a vision for it? Like, is there like a long-term project in a million years that you dream of?
I would love to make an album one day.
Yeah.
It would just have to be the right place and the right time, and like the right messaging and story. I feel like I'm starting to get there, but right now I'm just like, I'm a small artist and I kind of need to like not only build my own like sound and story, but like for the people to understand, but for myself to understand.
True.
Because like it takes a long time, especially if like this is a new thing for me.
Yeah.
So it's like it just takes a long time to do that.
Yeah.
But I would love to. I love. Am I allowed to curse? I don't know.
Yeah. Say what you want.
Would fucking love to make an album, dude.
It's interesting though, like saying that, like I'd love to make an album someday. That's such like a new idea. You know what I mean? Because
I mean, I could.
Yeah.
I technically could make an album.
But like.
But to like go into a studio and be like, oh, I really like want to take my time and like creatively like mess around with the sound of this weird guitar.
Yeah.
It's like I don't really have time to do that. I have to be like constantly like, all right, the next song is already on its way coming out. Like I have to be making a video for it. I have to be like thinking of all this promo, all this stuff for it. And I don't know. Eventually it will come.
Yeah.
I would love to do that.
I mean,
it will come. But it's just right now I can't, which, you know.
I mean, I totally agree and like I totally understand that mindset, but it is weird because it's like, you know, like you say you can't, and you know, like it does obviously, like you really can't if you want their things to do well. But I do think there are like certain instances and like very specific cases where like somebody can put something out that's just like amazing enough that it breaks through that mold, you know?
No, it totally can. And then like it just helps a lot when you've already had success in some sort of way. And not to like knock myself, but I haven't had like any huge like viral whatever song to hold me through it. So I need to, you know, like at the same time, like this whole time I am making an album.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Even though I'm releasing these songs, like I'm preparing for that. And now I'm saying this, it's like, I just probably am not ready, you know, to make an album because I need time. I need security and also more thought out vision in general. But the time and security thing is like, that's a whole, if I was just making music as my life, like all the time, like maybe, but you know.
But the risk thing, I mean, like, well, because it's not only is it a risk for like, I guess your career and like the efficiency of like what you're putting into music, but at a certain point it's a risk financially, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes I always question, right? It's like how much of a push would you need behind an artist project to be like warranted and like making an album that you like want, that you think will do well and you think will be worth it, right?
Yeah. But at the same time, if you want to make an album, you should.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's like, who cares? Like, these are the boundaries that, like, these boundaries don't exist. Like, you can just make an album and put it out and it'll be amazing and it will cut through, you know? But for me right now, personally, I don't think I'm ready to do that. And also, like, I'm just trying to, like, put out songs and hopefully they grab people and hopefully it will lead to me being comfortable enough to make an album. But I don't think I'm there yet. I want to be there.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all like complain about that a lot too, like the inability to be able to like put out gigantic long form pieces, whether it be like a feature or an album or whatever you're doing, whatever your medium is. But I do think like even in the world of like short attention spans and TikTok and like reels and all that stuff, I'd be interested to ask you this. I do still feel like things that are good rise to the top.
Oh yeah.
Like I do still feel like the best shit that's blowing up on TikTok is the best shit, or at least really good, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think like you can complain about it all you want, but like, and there is so much to complain about, to be honest. Like, just the entire sphere of music in general, it's like, yeah, there's a lot to complain about. There's a lot of fucked up shit that's going on. But also at the same time, like, at the end of the day, the best stuff is rising to the top. Like, all the time. Like this, I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example. Steve Lacy.
Yeah.
Like, that's just like, that's the first thing that came to mind. But that's just like an amazing album. Like, not only that song that blew up, but that album is incredible. And it's like, yeah, of course it's going to blow up. Like, it's really, really artistically thought out and really good. Like, so, I don't know. It's just the time thing. It's like, as a young It's not. I'm not young.
Yes, you are.
25, dude.
You're young, bro.
Quarter century is crazy.
You're young.
But I mean, as a newer artist who needs to like somehow like figure out himself and also gain some traction, like I need to be putting something out all the time.
Yeah.
And with like thought out vision, and that takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of time. And to make an album, I feel like I would need like months, you know, to do so. And I don't know. It's just, hopefully that will happen.
Since in this new era of you making your solo music and you kind of being Nuffer, when you started like with an EP, like that was the first body of work you put out, the first thing you put out at all, was that out of like an escape to that, where you're like, in the future I probably won't be able to make like an album, but like if because that's the thing too, it's interesting, right? It's like it's almost about the order, because if you put out like a bunch of singles that do decent or like doing good numbers, it's like then, but you only have like, you know, like still like a growing fan base, then you put out an album, that's not the wise decision.
Yeah.
But if you start with a project, it's kind of like just starting with a bunch of singles in a way.
Yeah. You have like the time, because you're a new artist. You have the ability to like take your time, because nobody knows who the hell you are yet.
Yeah.
And it's your first thing that you're releasing. But like, yeah, if you're starting to release singles, like you already are setting yourself up, not for failure, but just for constant, like if you really want to keep doing it, you have to be constantly putting stuff out.
Yeah.
And starting with a single is tough, because like you just have to keep going. It's like just the way that an artist has to work now, which, you know, it doesn't have to work, but it's just like,
it's like, yeah,
it's like, it helps.
It's really hard to like break out of
it's
that.
It's hard to just like put a single out and then not do anything for like a year. And then put another single out. It's like, well, it's been a year. No, everyone forgot.
And it's like almost impossible, to be honest.
Yeah,
and it's like that type of like waterfall release, like that is like now the norm. And it's like, if you aren't doing that now, or like you're not advising your artists to do that, like you're kind of a dinosaur at that point.
And I'm not saying this as like I miss albums. Like
I agree. I still listen to albums. That's like all I listen to.
I usually like to just put on an album.
Yeah.
Which like, and artistically, I think that's like the way to listen to music. Like, to listen to an artist is to listen to their album.
I agree.
You know, and to like let it really gestate and sink in.
I mean, do you think there'll ever be such a revolt against that people just go back to the album format, because it'd be like real music listeners that are really consuming, like are really going to want to listen to that?
Yeah, I mean, probably. Like just the way it is, it's like, I feel like the trends of culture recycle so quickly. Right now it's really in this like, you know, obviously short attention span way of going about things, but like, I don't know, there might be an era of just like completely like, it's not cool to do that, slowing things down, slow burning, you know, only making albums. It's like, it's lame to put out a single, which is a weird like thought to think about, but like, I don't know, maybe people will be burnt out by how short our attention spans are. Like, they can only be so short. Like,
I feel like it's already happening.
Yeah, like people will be like, shit, like this sucks. Like I miss like a long, I miss reading a book, or like having a movie that like is like a slow burn, or an album that's a slow burn, or I don't know.
I think
it sounds pretentious, I feel like.
I don't think so.
But also because I fucking love like just like stupid, like quick sort of attention span shit. Like that shit's awesome, but like I wonder how long it will last, you know? It's
weird. It's almost like contrasting culture to like psychology in a way, because it's like in my head, it's like if somebody I actually think that's like a really good way to look at it. Like, because in my head, right, if somebody puts out like this incredible hour-long opus and I'm like, this is amazing, I've listened to this 4 times in the past 4 days and it's impacted me on different levels every time, that sits with you for a long time, right? But like psychologically, like that's not gonna hit me every single time, you know? Like what's gonna hit me every single time is the 2-minute and 12-second single that like I found on TikTok that I really, really enjoy, that's like a really good, well-written, catchy song. Not to say that one of these is better, but it's just like that is made for my psychology, whereas like the project's made for what will impact me in the long run, you know?
It's just like a different type of chemical reaction in your brain. Like the you know, the TikTok song that's like amazingly catchy and like just awesome in general in that sort of space is gonna like hit your, you know, serotonin in a certain way and will make you love it. But I don't know if it will have the longevity of listening to a full project and like really getting an emotional like slow burn emotional reaction from a full project or an artist, like that will stay with you and you will be that fan forever, you know. But like a TikTok song, or I don't know, I'm not trying to diss on TikTok, but just just like a single that you really like, you don't necessarily like get that obsessive like obsession about an artist. Sometimes you just like, oh, this song is like releasing serotonin in my brain, the way this melody hits, and I like it a lot. But it's not like digging into that, like, this is an artist and I'm burrowing into their story kind of thing, and like how they live their life, and I don't know, that full investment, you know.
Well, I think that's why I love doing like what we're doing right now. Like this is like my favorite thing to do because of that. And I think like I didn't even consciously realize that until I started doing this. Like I didn't consciously realize that like I love the music and I love the sonics and I love the instrumentals behind everything, the production, but like I think what I'm really drawn to in music is storytelling. And I think because of that, like you get invested in an artist, you know. That's like, I mean, because that's the kind of world building that like really makes people stay now.
World building is like underrated, man. Like, I mean, I can't do it. Like, it's hard to do that, but like just like creating an ethos around yourself, it's just like, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of it, like if anyone knows the band Bay Faction, like, we used to tour with them and Fashion Jackson. They had such a cult like obsessive following because of the ethos that they built around themselves was so mysterious and also alluring.
What do you think it was about it? Like,
I mean, that, you know, the storytelling in the songs, it connected with a lot of people, but it's just their image, the way that they presented themselves, their story in general, and like James himself, like it built this obsession for people. Like I have never seen fans like that, like in my life, like Taylor Swift fans or whatever, maybe, but like Bay Faction fans were like hardcore, like they will kill for Bay Faction kind of thing. And it's like it's not because of necessarily their songs. Of course their songs are amazing, but it's like the entire imagery, the entire story around them. It was like that's what captures people in that like all-encompassing way. And
it's interesting too, because sometimes it's not even the story, it's the lack of story.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The mystery. I mean, there's so many ways to do it, but like their way was like being
incredible,
really mysterious, just like James's vague, like very like ethereal artistic lyrics, and just like also emo, and like, you know, at the time that was really hitting, but like there was so much mystery, you know. It was like people like wanted to dive in.
And their genre is so like ambiguous. Like what were their fans like? Because I never saw Bay Faction live.
I feel it's so funny that I'm talking about this, but like it's just an interesting study on like culture, and like because they started as an emo band, and that first album like affected so many like emo fans because it was kind of like indie emo, I would say. And like and the lyrics were so jarring and like personal, and people really connected with that. And then the next album was like the opposite.
I don't even know how to like describe that. It's like
it was jarring and also like super honest and brutal, but it was just not emo. And they totally abandoned, like a lot of bands abandoned them, which is, it's interesting, like that ethos of like being obsessed with a band and like ride or die for them. It could go the other way. If you don't do something for yourself, if you know, what's the word? Not patronize, but like if you don't do fan service, and like if you do your own thing, it's like weirdly those fans that were obsessed with you and like loved you turn their backs on you because they were, you know, doing things their own way. So not all of them. So I don't know. Just an interesting band. Look up Bay Faction, everybody. That story. They make really good music, but like their story was really interesting to me, and just the ethos of that.
But I do think if you can get to that place where it's like your fan base are fans of you rather than your music, like that's essentially in my eyes like what world building is. It's like getting people into you. Like it's getting people into Jake-nuffer opposed to Nuffer. You know what I mean? And it's so opposite from what we used to be.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like literally, like, you know, people used to put out records, and a lot of the times, like, you wouldn't know what your favorite musician looked like, which is crazy to think about.
Which is cool. I mean, I love that too. Like I mean, there's like different ways to do that. Like there's like that mystery. I'm so sorry. I had to step away from the mic for that. But there's that like mystery element, you know, Daft Punk or I'm trying to think of
Slipknot, Gorillaz.
Yeah, just like the mystery element.
Buckethead.
It pulls you in kind of way. Or there's like, I am giving my heart to you, kind of like Mac DeMarco.
Totally.
Like totally vulnerable and like happy. And like, there's just different ways to like be yourself, I guess. It's just that being yourself.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day. But yeah, I feel like there's not as much of that mystery thing. And I mean, I like that, you know. But like since like TikTok and these things, like they kind of not enforce you. They don't force you to do this, but it really helps you if you like kind of be less mysterious. Like be more like, hey fans, like how's it going? Here's my day.
Yeah.
And like some of the artists that I always loved when growing up were like the ones who were so anti that.
Totally.
And so like just didn't give a fuck about their audience.
I will push back into that though, because I do think some people are getting sick of that. Like, like I think right now, like there is a revolt against that on TikTok. Like maybe that's not true.
No, you're right. You're right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I'm just saying this, and I'm totally aware that I'm stupid. But
like, I think
But I don't know. I just noticed that it's just interesting. Like, there are people who are doing that still, and like, yeah, I can't think of any examples right now.
I feel like the quality that like all those share though is just being genuine. Like like how you went from like, because I mean there's musicians that are blow up on TikTok, they get people obsessed with them, but it's because they seem genuine, because they seem like you want to be their friend. Now I mean whether you like them or not in real life, who knows?
Totally.
But like that's what it seems like.
That's who they are.
Yes.
Like that's why I'm trying to think of anybody else but Mac DeMarco, but he is like truly the shining indie guy who was like one of the first people to be like completely like just totally themselves in a way that was like disarming, like in a very positive way, you know, like no mystery.
And there's some people who do that strangely enough in like a way that isn't so kind. Yeah. Like in a way that's like they almost play into like a controversial figure or an asshole, but it's really just about like I think like as strange as it is, if you're being yourself, it doesn't really matter if you're not a good person. Yeah, exactly. Because I think people will like, not everybody's a good person. You know what I mean? Exactly. So I think like there's some people who like will hear, I don't want to say like bad people making music, but like people who are expressing negative parts of themselves. And then like they'll relate to, I mean, you do that a lot. Like I think like in a lot of your songs you talk about like, you know, not negative parts of yourself, but like, you know, issues, I suppose. Like things like I think about like talking about like do something for yourself once. That lyric I feel like is so like, it's like obviously like correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like that's like not a part of you that you like, you know? No. So but it's like it's honest. So it's like people will, you know, gravitate towards it. And there's that way to do it, of course. But I also feel like some people are good at building a culture around their fan base. Like I think about like AG Club or Junior Varsity are good examples of this. Exactly. People who've like, you know, like even if they don't have like millions and millions of monthly listeners or whatever, they get 700 to 1,000 people at every single show in LA they ever do. Yeah. And it's because they've curated this massive culture around like their fan base and their shows and their live experience, you know?
And that is why they will probably be playing forever. Yeah. Like that, they will never stop playing because of that. Because they've created like community. I mean, we've talked about this before, but just like that community around, I think that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's just like you're creating an ethos for yourself and like trying to be as honest as you can to be able to find people who will listen to you and then create that community, you know? Yeah. And it's sad, but it's like you just want to be a part of a community, you know? It's like at the end of the day. So it's like that's why you go to shows and like that's why, you know, you support your friends is because that's why I make music sometimes. It's like I just want to connect with people and like have a community, and also why I listen to music and go to shows. It's like I want to see my friends and like support this artist and not be, I don't know, not try to overcool one another and just like just have a good time.
100%. And I feel like that is so many musicians and so many creatives, like all like I can speak that. I mean, like I definitely like this space right here. I think part of the reason I'm so in love with it, even though it's just a silly garage studio, I love this space so much now because of the people that are around it. Like sometimes, like, you know, people come and go throughout the day, or like, and I'm a constant here, but sometimes I feel like a fly on the wall.
Yeah,
you know, I'm just watching like all the people come in and out, and like just things on the wall that like remind me of my friends, or like pictures over there that like of my friends. It's just like the idea, like all I ever really wanted from this shit was to like have a bunch of friends to do it with, you know.
Yeah,
and it's like that's so lucky and rare because so many people don't have that, you know.
And like, I think I'm finding it more and more in LA. That it's taking a while, but I mean that's why I mean, not to bring it back to my history.
Bring it back.
That's why I left college. Like, I was like in this jazz school, like in New York, depressing. I had friends, but like I didn't necessarily. I'm gonna burp. It's gonna happen. I didn't necessarily have like a music community that I mean, I did, but I didn't. Like it was I just didn't feel myself. And then I went back to San Diego, originally where I'm from. I should do more like
you should dramatic looks.
I forget that there's a camera looking at me right now.
Okay, good. We're doing our job.
I'm originally from San Diego, California.
Nuffer trivia on the Nuffer fan account.
OB. I can't.
The Nuffer fan account. They recently posted a picture of me.
Oh, really?
Dude,
the Nuffer fan account?
Sterling runs this, right?
No. It's like actually two people who like my music. Like,
no, it's not.
I swear to God. It's not Sterling. It's not Sterling. I mean, maybe it is, but I'm pretty sure it's like some Buddha Trixie fans who like saw me at a show.
Are you sure it's not just Sterling and he lied to you?
No, Sterling would be like his. I can tell his style of meme. Like it's like not exactly the same.
They posted that picture of the 12 dancing princesses, and it's because there was 12 people that followed the account. Yeah, and I followed the account, so they just like put my face on it.
It's so weird. It makes me like uncomfy. But what was I saying?
What were you saying?
Oh, I because jazz school.
Yes,
you know, it's like a jock kind of atmosphere sometimes.
So strange. I wouldn't think that.
Just strange, super like highfalutin way to think about music sometimes. Not everybody, but like in general. And then I came back to San Diego, and it was just like, I'm gonna go to this Fashion Jackson show, and then I felt like for the first time, like, oh my God, like, these are my people, this community. Like, this is why I left college for that reason. I mean, I joined Fashion Jackson, but I really left because I felt at home in a musical community, which is like so important. Like I don't even know where I would be if I didn't have that community of people around me.
Do you think you went to college looking for that?
No, I just went to college because I just went to college.
Just what you do, yeah.
I played guitar, I played jazz guitar, and like I just didn't know what to do with my life, so it's just like, I guess I'll go to jazz school.
Yeah.
And then you slowly realize.
He said he was going to try to do that in the middle of the interview and get in the cup.
Oh, that was really close, actually.
Buy Music Matters mugs.
But yeah, then you slowly realize, like, oh, I'm not going to become a bebop jazz musician. Like, I mean, you could. There's people that, but I personally, I'm like,
but
why? I don't even like this.
Okay, but like, how many people who like are going to jazz school want to do that? I don't feel like it's very. I feel like it's less than half.
No, it's less than like a quarter.
Yeah.
You just meet people who like. That was the thing that was good about it. Is like I met a lot of really cool people.
Yeah.
And like a lot of cool musicians. Downside is you meet a lot of people that kind of bum you out.
Yeah.
The way that they think about music, and I don't know. The San Diego, there was just no. There was no
like culture.
There was no culture, but like in San Diego, there was no. It was just no. What's this? No
like
snobbery.
foundation.
There's no snobbery.
Oh, okay.
It was just completely like, hey man, like welcome to this space. We are welcoming you. Here's your new home. Like, and it felt really good. So yeah, that's why I left school. But
that's why I think so many kids like are so drawn to DIY music scenes, and I don't think like it's so funny because I feel like not a lot of people understand what it's like to like be in that space, but it's because they haven't been there. And I think if they were there, they'd understand it instantly.
Yeah, and it's so weird because just like that era of like, I mean, I might sound like a boomer right now, but like or like an older person. But that era of like, for me, of like 2017 to 2020, right before the pandemic, was like, for me, like such an era of like community and music on the West Coast. Like, just
for sure,
just
dude.
like there was like, we knew so many bands who were our like best friends.
Yeah.
Like there was no competition. It was just like
so cool.
We could just go anywhere and like stay with the homies, luckily, because they're all our friends. And like there's a part of me that really misses that, and I don't know if I feel it as hard now.
I wonder what it'll take though for that to become like a thing that comes to fruition again. I mean, we were talking, because that, dude, I mean, that scene that you guys were part of, like that, like surf rock, like you know, San Diego kind of Southern California music scene, that like during that era was so like, there's so many bands, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We were watching earlier. He pulled up. What was the band you pulled up the session of?
Which one?
The Chad's House one.
Psychic Barber.
Yeah. Well,
Psychic Barber?
Yeah. So
yeah.
he pulled that video up, and then I was like, oh my God, this is a Chad's House video.
Yeah.
And I totally forgot about that because I had watched that as a kid, as an outsider from the Bay Area who knew nothing about this scene that was going on because I was living in the Bay Area. But I had been watching that YouTube channel because I followed that guy on Instagram and I saw everything he's posting because I was just a fan of music. And I found him from what band covered the Pink Panther? What band covered Pain by Pink Panthers on Chad's House?
Oh, I don't know.
Fuck,
I don't know.
I don't. It's a sick cover.
That sounds amazing.
It's a sick cover. Yeah, but
awesome.
that's how I found them. And I was thinking about that earlier, like just like those bands, like that scene. Like, what is it going to take for that to become a thing again? And I'm sure
just time.
You think?
I think
it's like post-pandemic time.
Yeah, it took so long for that scene to build.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I haven't been to San Diego or the Bay Area in a long time. Like, there could be those scenes happening right now, and I just don't know it. And I'm sure there are. But like,
yeah.
I don't necessarily feel it as hard in LA, and like, luckily we have ATV Live, and like some of those homies who like kind of bring that vibe of like, hey, let's play a show. Let's like not be LA weird and like make it a competition. Like, let's just have fun.
Yeah.
Good night and like support each other, build each other up. I didn't feel that as much when I first moved here. I was like, this is kind of a weird vibe. I'm not used to this. But I feel it a little bit more now. So it might just be time, you know?
Yeah.
And like less focus. I mean, there's a thing to be said about DIY, do it yourself kind of attitude. Like, I think that kind of attitude really harbors this like love for like not only doing it yourself, but like making a community yourself and like putting on shows yourself. Like, you do that. Like, just like, it's such a good feeling to do something like that. Like, we used to do that, like put on shows ourselves and like have a community come. And like, those events are not only just a show, it's like a night that you will remember for a long time because it wasn't just a show. It was like a communal, like,
it's like your family's there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's just a great memorable night.
Yeah. And it's also, I think it speaks to the power of like live music. I think it speaks to like the power of like, you know, you could even take all those people and put them in a house party for a night. It's still fun, but it's not gonna be the same memory. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
you need that sound system.
Yeah, well, it just feels larger than life. You know, like it feels like you're part of the moment.
Yeah, or even a house show. Like, even a house show like that. I find more memorable than going to like this random like super, you know, cool art, like awesome artist like that, you know, everyone's just kind of standing still like watching.
I totally agree.
And like, that's fine. It depends on the music, you know. But like, I much more remember those shows where your friends are playing and like it's a community than like going to a weird LA show that's just like weird.
Fully agree.
Yeah, like I don't know how to describe it, but just like, I don't know. Everyone is just so insecure. It's like, it's funny. It's just funny.
We talk about this all the time, dude. It's like, and I'm sure this is very similar for you being from San Diego and like us being from the Bay. It's like, dude, like Bay Area, I mean, I'll speak to Bay Area crowds, but Bay Area crowds versus LA crowds, dude, it's like, it's like
insane.
I don't get it, and I don't get it, and I hate it because I feel like sometimes I become a part of it because I like when when I'm at like a local Bay Area show, I don't feel any kind of judgment, just like
No.
going crazy, like jumping, starting pits, like doing whatever. And it's like I'll still do that at LA shows for sure. Like I always try to be that guy, but like at the same time, like I feel like people who are against the wall and like I just feel you feel judged in a weirder way.
You feel judged, and you also feel like bad for them. It's like I get people with like social anxiety.
Totally,
who don't wanna do
totally.
that, like totally fine.
Totally valid, yeah.
But just like that feeling that you get at LA shows where it feels like everybody at the same time feels like they can't express themselves and open up and just have a good time.
Yeah.
Because they're afraid of scrutiny and like, you know, like just embarrassment for some reason. Like that's where you're supposed to be embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like at a show, you know. It's like it's supposed to just you're supposed to just let yourself go and like have a good time.
Do you feel like that's developed in you as you gotten older? That's how I feel. I mean, that's just me projecting, but I feel like as I've got because maybe like part of me is like, oh, it's the Bay Area versus LA, and then another part of me is like, I've developed more intense social anxiety as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and the pandemic, like
I think that's
I got some serious social anxiety from that too.
I mean,
think everyone did.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think I had social anxiety at all before the pandemic.
Yeah, honestly.
Like-
but I mean, so it's that might be it, and like I might be describing social anxiety when I say like
Sure,
these LA,
yeah.
like I might be like judging them,
Mhm.
like these LA people who are very I'm viewing as very insecure and like judgmental.
Mhm.
They could just be like really socially anxious and insecure with themselves.
Yeah.
And, like don't want to. I don't know. They don't want to like talk
Mhm.
or like have that community vibe, and like I don't know. I feel like I might be judging too, but like
Totally.
just in general, like if you go to a San Diego house show and then you go to an LA show, like
It's just
the
different.
the difference is like actually insane, like really weird how different it is.
Maybe it is, and I don't think I understood this until I moved to LA, but maybe what it is like I always said like one of the reasons I wanted to move to LA, like from the Bay Area to like do all this was because of like the implied level of seriousness amongst people that like are pursuing art. But when there is that implied level of seriousness, right? Like if on average the person in LA who like is pursuing art is taking their art a 7 out of 10 serious level, right?
Yeah.
That is like, and then like, maybe in the Bay, that's like a 5 out of 10.
Mhm.
When you ramp that 5 to a 7 or an 8 or a 9, it's almost like there's no way to avoid the financials of it becoming a part of your headspace.
Mhm.
So maybe like when we begin to like tokenize art and like think of art as like our livelihood, we take it more seriously, but it's never meant to be taken seriously.
Seriously.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think you can take yourself semi-seriously, but also like have a great time and
Yeah.
put on a really good show. And like also there's like this precedent in LA that I feel sometimes where it's like you have to, there's this level of like everything has to be really like this person in the show is going to be going somewhere. There's music heads here. There's like some label heads.
Some A&Rs here.
Some A&Rs here, and like we gotta like let's check them out, see if they're whatever.
Buy them a drink.
And it's just
Yeah.
like so like the opposite of where I come from.
Same,
of just like
yeah.
just like people going to a show having fun. It's just like there's this level of like this has to be amazing, and it has to be good for something other than just the show, other than just this moment.
It's gotta like push me forward.
It's gotta like it's just like thinking ahead. And
Yeah.
It's just like, why don't we just enjoy this moment and like have a good time?
It's so hard though, dude.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I agree with you. I'm on the same page. Like I always say that, but it's like I suck at that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I am not good at like living in the moment. It's so
It's hard.
difficult, and it's such a weird balance because like I feel like I have sometimes I have to like actively work to not take myself too seriously, but it's because I care a lot about what I do.
Exactly.
So and it's like I don't want to stop caring about what I do, but I guess I just have to find that balance of like I want to take it seriously, but not like too seriously.
Yeah, it's just your definition of taking it too seriously. I feel like just like I think it's good to be passionate. Like
Yes.
really overly. It's okay to be overly passionate, but if you like get on stage and you think like, okay, the way to be cool is to like not look at the audience and like
Pretend like I'm better than them, so there's a
and just,
power
like,
dynamic.
Pretend so there's a power dynamic or
Yeah.
something, or like in any way not be yourself. I guess
Yes.
it's like audiences know that, and like people can tell, and that seems like you're taking yourself too seriously.
Yeah.
To me, it's just like, just be yourself.
And I almost feel like you're
It's
doing a
funny.
disservice to yourself.
Yeah, and it's just like audiences I feel like are a lot more attuned to what you're doing than you think. Almost more
Totally.
than yourself.
Yes.
Like, which I really have realized, like, I don't know. It's like when you get on stage, like for me, it's sometimes like a subconscious experience where like just like stuff happens and comes
Yeah.
out and they're like, oh, that's who that guy is. And I'm like, I didn't know that's what I was going to do or what I was
Yeah.
going to say, you know, because the spotlight's on you and you're
Yeah.
just like just,
Totally.
yeah.
It's almost like something's happening to you opposed to you doing
Yeah.
something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is weird, but it's like when there's such like an intense environment in front of you and you're like, holy shit, that's like 150 people, or like
Yeah.
that's 300 people. It's like your body kind of just goes into this place where it's like, you know, I don't know.
what's going to happen, man. I don't
Yeah.
pre-plan anything. I'm just kind of like, we'll see what happens.
I don't think you can.
No. And like that, I think that's good. I think that's good to do. But also like, I don't know. Just be yourself, man. That's the only thing I've learned over these years is like, just be unapologetically yourself.
Yeah.
And it will be okay. But, anything that I've ever made that wasn't that is the worst version of, like it's genuinely like no bias, like the worst thing I've made. Like if I ever do something where I'm like, that might be perceived as cool in this space or of LA or
You hate it. Yeah.
or like you're trying to recreate something way too much and like then you realize, then it comes out and you're like, man, this song like just kind of like doesn't hit. I don't know why. And then the songs where I didn't think about it at all, be present and in the moment and just like made something that was probably myself, are the ones that did well and people connected with. So I don't know, man. That's the only thing I've actually learned.
Kind of on that note of like that show culture plus like that, you know, that version of being yourself, especially at concerts. Is that kind of what Spirit's about? 'Cause that's kind of what I get from it.
Yeah.
Like, cause like I was talking to him earlier about this, like, well, actually I didn't say this, but to me, like, do you remember that house show you played with Sugar Pit? That the house show,
Yes.
that the one we were talking about? Yeah, that show to me felt like it was like there was a soundtrack to that show would be like Spirits, or like there's so many house shows like I've been to, and it's like
Yeah.
Spirits would be like the soundtrack to that show.
That one was not that crazy.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that one was like, I felt like an
But, like,
LA
some crazier
it
ones,
felt
yeah.
some LA house show.
Yeah, it
which
did.
was like a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
I love Sugar Pit, man. He is
Oh,
like
so far.
he's such a like. There's a story about, or just this a personal story about him, but
Uh-huh.
like, he's so anti-LA and so like anti like snobbery in any sorts, and I fucking love that about him. And like, there's a show we were playing at this venue I will not name, and like
You played with him?
I didn't play with him that night.
Oh,
But
okay.
I played with him like a week before,
Mm-hmm.
and like I was just talking to him outside. He's like, "I'm actually what? I'm so what?"
I was trying to voice the venue to you because I feel like in my head I know what you're talking about, but
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about it after.
Okay,
We'll
yeah.
talk about it after. But there was this show where like people were outside, you know, smoking, and then like and like they were just like too cool to like go back inside.
fucking hate that.
And
I
they-
hate
and it was-
that.
A lot of it was like the people for this one band who
Yeah.
just went on. And Sugar Pit was about to go on, and he was just like so like confrontationally nice, but like was just like, hey, I'm about to go play a show right now. I'm going in to play a show right now. Do you guys want to come in? Let's go. We're at a show. Let's go play it. You guys want to have some fun and watch the show?
I love that.
And they're just like, we're just completely silent. And he's like, no, seriously, like, come on, let's go inside. Like, he was like,
I love
almost
that.
like verbally just like attacking them. Just be like, you're at a show. Come and watch the show.
It's true. Well, you know what's crazy? It's like if 4 of those people walked in, everybody else would have walked in.
yeah,
if
and
you-
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. And it's just like, well,
It's like groupthink.
It was just such a like, I think he was talking to some like specific people who were like too cool to see any of the other acts. Like,
Yeah.
they just were there to see that one act, and it was just like, it was just so perfect. It was just like these LA people were just like, what? Like, what? No, we're good. Like,
Yeah.
it was just so funny. It was just like so confrontational.
I dislike that. I don't know what it is, man.
You had to be there. I think it was just, I don't normally like that kind of.
Oh no. I meant like I don't like the fact that those people like wouldn't come in. Is what I meant.
Yeah. They were only there for like 15 minutes and then leave, kind of thing. And it's just like, I don't know. Let's like at least like see a little bit of the next act or another act.
Even if you're not curious, like just do it to be like respectful.
Yeah, there's show etiquette,
Yeah.
And like Sugarpit obviously knew that.
Yeah.
And it was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna confront these people.
Is he from San Diego?
No, he's from Chicago, I think.
I wonder if he came up in like a similar music scene.
Yeah, probably Chicago.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm sure.
Chicago's really, I feel like, was really similar when I went there to like the Bay Area, Bay Area or San Diego. Like really DIY, indie driven around 2018, like kind of vibe.
And when did you go to Chicago? Did you guys play there?
Yeah, we did. We played a
that's cool.
show with like this band Beach Bunny.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they're doing, but anyways, I feel like
Mario likes them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My mind is like going into like, I'm so sorry, I can't stay on one topic. Like it's
Dude,
really bad.
I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna say this right now. I don't know why anybody apologizes for that. That's literally what this is. Like, keep going.
I'm
Like,
just going everywhere.
no, go.
But I feel like you asked me a question about spirits. Like
Yeah, but
it
it doesn't matter. We can go back.
But I can answer that. I'm sorry, dude.
No, finish your thought and then we'll answer it. Like,
I mean, that was the thought. Like,
Okay.
Sugarpit's awesome. Like, he's like so supportive of like having that thing, like that community going to shows for the right reasons. And anyways, spirits. Yeah, that's what it's about. Like, but it's also like there's an opposite end of that, and that's what spirits is about. Also, like, a gatekeeper in different clothes. Like those are like. What I was thinking of was those people who are so caught up in indie world that they like actually become like these like big suit like LA people in another way. They're like, you're not allowed to be here kind of vibe. Or
it's like
you're
how
not cool enough to be here sort of feeling when like it's like, dude, like chill out. Like the band is not even that good. Like we're having a good time. Like they're having a good time on stage. Let's just enjoy ourselves and not try to out cool one another. Like there's an out cool of like LA. And then there's like an out cool insecurity of like an indie side where it's just like you also don't express yourself because you're and feeling so insecure because you want this like niche indie coolness.
It's almost like when it's so I know what you mean. It's so
I mean?
weird.
Like,
yeah. It's like it's almost like when you become so anti-establishment that anybody who is not anti-establishment you hate, and then because of that you almost become the establishment.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're becoming like a gatekeeper in ways.
Yeah.
And like it's just funny. Like
totally.
I mean, I think
know exactly what you mean.
Like the whole idea of gatekeeping. Like people are like bring back gatekeeper kind of things, and I'm just like
fuck that.
I'm like it's just there's this level of like you have to find some equilibrium, and like it's okay to like what you like. It's okay to like, I don't know, Toxic by Britney Spears or something. And like, it's also okay to be really passionate about music and like deep dive into the most niche band
100%.
ever and love them. But don't shit on people for either side. Like people just like what they like. And like, you can't really, I just don't think like at a certain point, like music is so subjective. Like you can't really talk shit on anybody musically because at a certain point like you'll just dig yourself into this negativity hole where you're like, well, who am I to say what's good and what's not? It
also doesn't have to be one or the other. And I think people like and I think that goes back to like that quest for community. It's like we have to feel like we either like I'm obsessed with Death Grips or I love Carly Rae Jepsen. And it's like, it's not, if you're, if you're not on one of those spectrums, you don't get a community.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I think it's totally about that community.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and I get people want to gatekeep community, like out of like, from people who don't like, are there for the wrong reasons.
Totally. Yeah.
And that's
just called vetting
like,
people.
Yeah. Accountability,
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I feel like it's just, once you start talking shit, like even just like, I just try to go with aggressive empathy sometimes. Like
that's amazing.
And like of just like realizing like, oh, I'm talking shit on this whatever like TikTok person who's promoting their music in like the most TikTok way. And if I find myself being like, oh, like this is so lame, like in that like indie world of being like too indie and just being like, oh, that's what it's like. Then you realize like, oh wait, actually this is just like
Another form of gatekeeping.
Another form of gatekeeping. Like, also, this is an artist who's just doing their best, man, with
Yeah.
the circumstances that they probably have, and they are passionate about their music, and they might be doing it for the right reasons. Like, you'll never be able to know, but like,
and it's like what's crazy is like I love your music so much. You're like genuinely one of my favorite musicians, and I'm not just saying that because you're like one of my best friends, but like, I love you and I love your music on separate levels. But like, yeah, of course. But it's like your music could suck, right? And if you blew up on TikTok tomorrow and I didn't like your music, I wouldn't shit on you because like the you know, like the music doesn't even matter at that point. It's not about that. It's about like somebody who loves their art trying to promote their art because they want to be an artist. And the way that they choose to do that doesn't make them less of an artist if they want to be heard. It's like this idea like have you seen Turn It Around? Do you know that is? It's a really cool documentary about the Bay Area music scene in the 90s and in the 80s, like the early 80s through the late 90s. Yeah, really cool. But there's this part in it where like they come to the conflict because Green Day is like the spearhead of that scene and everything, and they signed so they couldn't play Gilman anymore.
Gilman.
Yeah,
I know this story.
So it's like interesting to me because on one hand I'm like I understand a venue wanting to be so DIY that like they're only giving opportunities to small bands. That makes sense to me. That's cool.
That's awesome.
But I think that's super cool. And it's like once you sign, it's not like we hate you, but it's just like, you know, like it's like we want to give these opportunities to smaller bands. But I think that fan base and that scene and just like those people can become those new gatekeepers because it's like when somebody is successful, they hate them. Yeah. It's like there's a part of this culture that's rooted in like failure, and it's like if you don't have it's almost like if you don't achieve that same level of failure, you're not part of this community. If you're not DIY enough, it's like if you have like good equipment or if you like want to play a real venue or want to elevate your music because you love music, it's like you're no longer part of that community. And I agree with you. It's like a new form of gatekeeping.
Yeah. And wow, Green Day that's such a perfect example.
Yeah.
Just like it's not. It's just funny because it's just this band is like, they're really good and they're rising to the top and they're successful and they've been really genuine about it. And then they signed to a thing and like, I mean, back in the 90s, this was more of a thing.
Yeah.
But they
label
signed,
deals made sense. Yeah.
And they
a little
signed,
bit more at least.
and then everybody in the community just totally like turns their back on them like in an insane way. And it's just like, that's just so funny how like they have become the thing that they might hate.
Yeah.
It's like, it's almost like, you know, I don't know. It's just such a bummer when that happens, you know.
It's like the opposite of sports. Like, well,
it just turns into
really,
like
yeah.
it's like music is supposed to be like you're supposed to be uplifting these people. You're supposed to be uplifting other bands, not just yourself. Like that's what the community is. It's like you're not doing this for yourself. You're supposed to be uplifting other people who might not have who might not be able to, you know, be uplifted as much as myself. Like I mean, I don't know. Like also just a white dude, but like. And just like anybody who like does well, like that's the whole point of why we're doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that's what our goal is for our friends to succeed.
Yes.
And to be happy for them. But then, I mean, it's just human nature. Like it's like almost like capitalism or something.
Yes.
It's
No,
like,
it is. Definitely
to just
is.
be like, what?
It's like crabs in a barrel.
Yeah,
It's like the concept of crabs in a barrel.
Exactly. It's like why are they doing so well? Not me. And then it just becomes like this like out of insecurity.
I think that's the internal. I think the external is like that. Almost, it's kind of the I guess the problems with creating a community that's rooted in, I don't even want to say disenfranchisement, but like rooted in failure.
Yeah.
And rooted in like feeling like an outcast. Because when somebody who feels ostracized or outcasted from what is the perceived like superior group or whatever, it's like when they get outcasted, they I think tend to gravitate towards people who have also been outcasted in that way. But then when one of those people no longer feels that way, that solidarity is gone.
And that's like, yeah, that's so true. I mean, that's like with everything.
It's like tribalism, yeah.
It's like not just music. Like if you outcast, like, I don't know, like a conspiracy theorist, they're gonna go harder into their conspiracy.
Totally.
It's not like it's just like that's like I feel like never mind, I won't get political or whatever. But like that's like a very liberal way of thinking of just being like shitting on a conspiracy theorist and thinking like
that's gonna fix them.
I really got them, and then being like that's just totally drove them
You're ruining
more into what they're going to into their tribe.
100%.
And they're going to be feeling like othered.
Yes.
And it's just the same with music. It's
Yeah.
like if you do that to people, they're going to, feel othered. And
Yeah.
nobody wants to feel othered.
I mean, yeah, like you said, not to be super political, but I feel like that's like why in my head, like progressivism makes more sense than liberalism in a lot of times, because like I think we should actively be trying to, when somebody has a point of view, I'm not saying hateful point of views, obviously that's different, but somebody who has like a point of view that like is uneducated maybe, or like doesn't have the research to back up that opinion, instead of making fun of them or ostracizing them or like getting them to a point where they hate you because you're making fun of them for their opinion, maybe you should try to like explain to them why that opinion might not be productive and help them get to a point where it can be.
Yeah, I mean, also like, I mean, there's an exception, obviously.
Of course,
to, like,
yeah.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Fucking Nazism.
Yeah, 100%, of course.
It's like sometimes it's just too, it's too far gone. But like,
I struggle with that sometimes.
It's a tough world. It's like you can't.
Yeah.
It's hard to deal with that situation because it's like there's something that like you won't be able to change this person. You can hear them out, but sometimes what you're hearing out is something that's really toxic and terrible.
Totally.
And that's like a radical, empathetic way to go. But like, there's a fine line of like, this is too much, and like, you have to push back. And also like debating. Like, I don't even think debates are like worth it. I think it's very like, I think debates are a little bit performative. Like more performative than actual like getting to. I'm going way off topic here,
but like. Stop apologizing for going off topic. A podcast is just a series of off-topic conversations.
Yeah, but like it's just like a debate is more now of like owning the other person.
Yeah, it's like being right, not moving forward.
Yeah, not like presenting your ideas in a civil way. It's like how am I going to destroy this person and
make them look stupid
in the world of ideas?
Yeah,
it's just like it's
like that meme.
Stupid.
Yeah.
But anyways.
But I struggle with that. I think like sometimes when somebody has an opinion that I'm like, I hate that you have that opinion. That makes me sick. I struggle with not being able to like help them out of that.
Yeah.
And
there's nothing.
It's hard because it's like sometimes you want to change people and you can't because there's people who you think like they're not bad people. They just have bad ideas. And it's like, how do we get those people to like not like just maybe like I think egoism is like a big problem with like terrible opinions. I think people have really bad takes sometimes because they just drill their opinions into the ground, not because they've done research and have further backed up what they think, but because they don't want to be wrong. It's like that inability to have your mind changed. Yeah, it's that fear to be wrong. It's like, I don't want to further educate my opinion because eventually I might get to a place where this is more educated. I'd rather be wrong a million times as wrong as I double down on what I think.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be wrong. But it's like it drills that. It's so ego driven. Like it drills that like that opinion so deep into you where you start to convince yourself that it's the truth.
And you have to just be questioning yourself like all the time. Like for this whole time, like self-deprecating, but like everything I've said, I'm like, I almost take back on myself because I'm like, well, there's another perspective, or I might not know what I'm talking about. I probably definitely don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to speak on what I possibly know from my years of playing music. But like, I don't know. Anyway, it's just not. It doesn't help. It's just that's a tough topic. I don't know why I brought that up. But just like dealing with, like, do you listen to those people that have a crazy opinion? What do you do about that? I don't know. It's just that's a whole thing.
I get some of that in Big Brain. I think some of that level of like
that you connected it back to my music, dude.
Come on, I'm good at this. Come on. I'm a vet. Right. But that level of like not allowing anybody to teach you anything. I get that a lot from Big Brain. I think like wanting to like almost taking music as a competition is something that's really interesting. I feel is that like part of what Big Brain's about, or like when you kind of have those ideas. Like to me that's I think we talked about this before, but to me that song like feels like your response to music school. Yeah,
I mean that song was like I had no idea what I was doing. Like I really genuinely, and that's why I personally think it's one of my favorite songs I've written, not because of like any sort of musical reason, but it feels so me. Totally. In an insane way, like it's so insane. It's such a fucking ridiculous song. Like the form musically just doesn't make any sense, Like the lyrics are incredibly
Wearily I unweave.
strange, and like, but it was so like at the moment I was like totally like the riff too. It was like
It's very you, yeah.
it's like very angry, but also like cheeky at the same time. Like I don't know, it's weird. I don't know. It's a weird song. Like but it is me, and like those lyrics are definitely about like my feeling of post jazz school, post like not anti-intellectualism, but just like I'm not necessarily full into that, but just like that full like that like how do I explain it? I guess it's just like the pompous, patronizing person.
I think too.
It's about a specific person,
Yeah.
but like just like a patronizing person in my life, who was like, if you don't get a degree, then what are you worth? And
It sort of feels like anti-intellectualism to me, in in one facet for sure.
Yeah, I don't think intellectualism. You should be anti-intellectualism, but I think you should be like anti-patronizing,
Anti-arrogance,
and, like,
yeah.
anti-arrogance, and like
Yeah.
that whole, just the idea of this person who's obviously so unhappy,
Yes.
and so just unhappy with his life, and it's just sad to see, like telling me how I'm failing at my life, and like
Because of perceived standards.
because of
yeah.
perceived standards, and because of this like ingrained capitalistic again like way of going about life. It's like you go to college, you could do this thing, you do this thing, and like it was just funny. It was just like, that's insane, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? And then that's why that song is just like so like ironic and like
Yeah.
just like making fun of everything and myself too. And it's just like
I think like my favorite lyric in that is if I got a degree, maybe I could lose any reasoning.
Yeah.
That to me, like I felt that a lot because like I feel like, I don't know if you felt this way. Maybe I don't want to project, but
Go for it.
when I dropped out of college, I felt stupid, and not because I felt like I didn't have like I couldn't build something that meant something, or because I felt like I like lacked depth in conversation, or like I feel like I couldn't understand concepts that were taught to me, but because of this perceived idea that if I am not on this school track, I'm somehow like intellectually inferior to somebody who is.
Yeah.
And it's like that idea is that idea in itself is like anti-reasoning.
Yeah.
So it's like getting, which is like ironic, but it's like, so it's like if I got a degree, I can lose any reasoning. It's like if you have this degree, you don't have to back up the things that you say because the degree does it for you.
Yeah,
Is how I felt. Yeah.
And like how intellectualism can be used as like a weapon against
Totally.
people. And like in a way that like makes other people feel really shitty about themselves.
I used to do that all the time.
Because they might not have the same circumstances as you, and like
Totally.
might not be as lucky as you, and like I don't know, it's just funny that like that the entirety of that song was just me trying to dumb myself down and like wanted to make something so brain dead, and that's why and that's like true. Nice. It's like just basically trying to get to the root of who I am, get all this jazz school like whatever fucking modal interchange like crazy theory stuff out of my head, and just go back to like, what do I like about music, and what do I like about songwriting, and like who am I kind of thing. And that was the first song I wrote.
Interesting.
And like it's just totally just me trying to push away all that stuff and just get to who I am. And that's why I think that's where like I would subconsciously say it was coming from, just like overthinking things, anti-intellectualism, and just being who I am.
I kind of love the contrast to where you go from like in the beginning saying words that are I don't know if this is intentional. Like maybe I'm buying into this too much, but like in the beginning you begin with like very, very big, like complex words. Like you're saying like wearily I unweave, and then like cerebrum like a shoestring. Yeah. And then it's like by the end, like you're not really speaking in that like a super intellectual, like overly dialectic tongue,
that's
you know?
Really cool. I can't believe you picked that up. That's actually crazy.
I love your music, bro.
Thank you. Dude. Like that's like the whole point. Like that's like I'm starting with a line that's like obviously I would say over complicated.
Incredibly, yeah.
And like it's so almost like funny how over complicated it is. Like, and that's the point. I'm unraveling my brain. That's the line. And then like, I would rather die plugged in flashing standby, like mucking around, just like then it becomes me trying to like, unravel like who I am and like trying to be stupid. Like I want to be stupid again. But that's not what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But like I just.
But like,
But-
that's kind of sick. Like wanting to be stupid again. Like I know it's not what we were saying, but like
Exactly.
I can relate to that. Like wanting to like have conversations sometimes at our surface level and like
And-
not
or just-
act like we're like hypothetically, if I would, you know what I mean? Like not everything has to be so deep.
And also like, be like, go back to your child, like thoughts and like childhood, like that's where the good stuff is in my opinion. And like, like fucking fart jokes are like the best jokes, and like poop and shit, pee, cum jokes are like still the best, will forever be the funniest shit. And it's just
For
like,
sure.
I don't know, like just over intellectualizing yourself, taking yourself like serious in a way that's like patronizing and annoying. I just despise that.
I agree.
And, that's what that song's about.
I'm happy with like my mindset on that in that vein right now, because this took me a long time and a lot of like reflection to understand about myself. But I used to be ultra insecure about my intelligence.
Yeah,
like
same.
my whole life, I've been incredibly insecure about my intelligence. Like I think I've always felt dumb, and I think a lot of that was
crazy
because
I find you so like emotionally intelligent.
Thanks, man. I
like,
appreciate it.
And how like you listen to people in
Thank
such
you,
a
bro.
genuine way.
Thank
it's
you.
like I would much rather talk to you than like the smartest person in the world.
Thank you, bro. Well, same,
what I mean?
same, brother. But like, I think it was because, and I feel like whenever I bring this up, I feel like people think I'm like anti-school. I'm not like anti-school, but
Neither
I do.
am I, yeah.
But I think it was not good for me. I think like for me individually, like it made me feel like I was like worthless or dumb because of the fact that like I didn't fit into this environment super well.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And it could be a personal thing, And like I don't know, it just didn't work for me. And I'm totally not anti, intellectualism like at all. I just think using it as a weapon against people is really shitty.
And
like,
it's very common.
yeah, and like it just using it as a way to build yourself up of like, oh, I am actually now a better person because I know more and have the ability and like privilege to learn these things. And it's like, no, you're not. You're still an asshole. If you're an asshole. You're just a smart asshole.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also, I do think like being a dick is like kind of dumb. You know what I mean? Like that's like some way to look at it. But it's like from like an intellectual standpoint, it's like we function better as units. Like people, tribalism exists in a toxic sense a lot of the time, but it also exists in a positive sense a lot of the time, because it's like if we are better as a unit, people need people. So it's like when you get in that mentality of like, I'm Ben Shapiro and I'm going to make fun of college kids because I'm more educated than them. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like it. What'd you say?
We only have the diagonal.
Which one? Oh, the wide one?
No, his.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's fine for now.
We're talking too long.
I use it too. Anyway.
Fuck.
Yeah, we can wrap it up. But like that idea of like, I'm gonna use big words so people around me look stupid, and I'm not gonna I feel like this sounds like I'm saying Ben Shapiro's smart. I'm not even trying to say that.
No.
But it's like using like law terms and like big words when you're like talking to college kids is not a way to like reach a productive conversation.
Yeah, I mean that's just like what we were just talking about before, like the debating thing. It's like that's such a funny way to like think that you're smart is to be like Jordan Peterson or something. And totally use language and like in like a hilarious like over convoluted way, like and just quote unquote dunk on people.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna absolutely dismantle this man in the field of ideas.
It's just like it's so funny how you're right. It's like so stupid. Like, and they think that it's like I don't know. Anyways, I mean, that's what that song is about. I would say it's just like I feel like we have gotten so off topic that I haven't even like talked about anything musical like at all.
Yeah.
And I feel bad. I'm gonna say sorry again.
What are you excited about then?
I feel like I've been going down like these like
you gotta stop
weird
saying sorry.
rabbit holes.
I need to I gotta stop saying this, bro. Like what this is like a series of us it's like your conscious mind just being sprawled out on a piece of paper. It's like just throwing out all your ideas into one thing.
Yeah, and I honestly think that like that's a whole nother therapy session. But like
I'm not talking about train tracks. I'm talking about life tracks.
I'm talking about life tracks.
Yeah, come on.
For the real ones out there. But I mean, like for saying sorry all the time. Like that's like
Mhm.
the thing. And that's like
Dude,
that's
yeah.
like I've always said that. It's like a part of my like the first 5 most used words in my vocabulary, and that transfers into all of my music, all of how I perceive myself, and like this is a quick note of just like the reason I say sorry, and it's not because like I want to. I hate that I say sorry, and that's like such a part of my artistry is like me doing this project, and in fact. Not to go full fucking circle on him.
Dude, no, keep doing
is
it.
to get away from who that person is. Saying sorry, hating, myself musically, and being like, no, I'm worth this thing. I'm worth, expressing myself.
That's fascinating to me. Like the idea. Well, can I not? And this is like personal, and you don't have to like speak on it if you don't want to. But like, why do you feel like that is a part of you? Like the party that says sorry and over apologizes? Because I feel like I used to really do the same thing, and I feel like we talked about this before. I think we're wired in the same way, like wired similarly in a lot of ways. But I think I used to do that a lot. Like I used to really be like overly apologetic and like feel bad and super guilty. I don't like. Why do you think you're like that?
I don't know, and it's so antithetical to being an artist because almost in a way,
the level of selfishness.
You have to have a level of selfishness, and genuinely, like you do have to like, not narcissism, but like. You have to think about yourself.
Confidence.
You have to have confidence, exactly.
Yeah.
You have to think about yourself a lot, and you have to be confident in your ideas. And it's really hard to do that when you just, for some reason, I don't know where it came from, but just think I'm not worth anything, like in so many ways. And like I'm a much better place now. Like I used to think like that, and that's why I think when I joined that community, to bring it back to community, I think that's when I started to unravel that. Because I was like, these people love me for who I am, and it doesn't matter. It's just like I'm in this community who loves me, and that's okay. And like I can be myself here. And I think over those years of people like appreciating who I was, just like musically, for like good reasons, and like I think I just unraveled that. I don't know. It took a long time. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's going to take a lifetime because I still fucking say sorry to you for no reason.
How do you think you've like gotten to this place though, like opposed to where it used to be? Do you think it was just that community aspect? It was, it was how it built you up?
Yeah, I think that's why I think it's so important for everybody, not just for selfishly for me, but just like having in any sort of, in music and art and any sort of thing, like the communal experience, like can really help you get away from those like you're alone all the time in your room type of thoughts, like am I worth anything?
Yes. You
just kind of go and like you see other people for who they are and they see you for who you are, and like that's, I mean, what else are you fucking doing this shit for,
Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, that's what I was gonna say. It's like that's why we do it.
Totally. I think it also helped me with like the everybody hates me mentality. Helped me get out of that a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I had definitely have like a tendency to mistake people's social anxiety or mistake people's personalities for their thoughts on me. Like somebody who might be like quieter, or somebody who might be like just more softly spoken when I have a conversation with them, I then am like, oh, they hate me.
Yeah, dude,
you know what I mean?
I cannot
like,
relate to anything harder
Yeah.
like, in my life. Like
Yeah.
totally. Like someone just like doesn't say as many words as you, and I'm like totally anxiety spilling.
Yes.
And they're like just like, oh cool, man.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, that guy hates
me. Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's just I'm projecting my anxiety onto everything.
Yeah, the same thing.
And,
Yeah.
It's just, you gotta, I've been trying to not do that.
It's hard.
Sorry. The word sorry is a very terrible word. So it's like, for me, for a lot of people, you need to say sorry.
Yeah.
But like, for me, I say sorry too much to the point where it makes other people uncomfortable, and like, it's just a bummer.
Yeah.
And it's just not good for anybody,
Well, it's like that balance. Like you need to have like I think there's like a lot of good times to practice like incredible empathy, but you can't hate yourself. Like and I think that is like, for me anyway, like the root of a lot of these things. It's like it's just like projection. It's like I don't like me all the time, so I think that other people don't like me sometimes. You know what I mean? Exactly. And it's like I think you have a lyric where you say do something for yourself once. Yeah. And I think I related to that a lot, because it's how I feel about I feel like, okay, so this I think has gotten better. Like I've gotten better with this over the years, but I think I used to, like this anxiety in my life used to result in me trying to change my personality, like depending on who I was around, so I would feel like they liked me.
You're adapting.
I used to adapt. Yeah. I think I've gotten better at that because I've become more aware of it. But it was like when I heard like do something for yourself once, it was like, okay, be yourself because you love who you are, not because you want the people around you to love who you are.
Exactly. You
know?
And you're not doing anything for anybody else. You're doing it for yourself in a selfish way because you need to. It's like you're loving yourself because you need to you need to do that. It's a necessary thing to be able to love other people. Obviously, it's a trope, but it's true. Like, and that, I mean, this whole project is just me, like, not only it's what a fucking trip that is, but like it's me like allowing myself to be okay with myself and present music to people, and and be okay with it. And like,
is that why it's called a-ok?
I mean, I don't even know. I don't think so. I think a-ok just was like a funny phrase that I said one time. I was like, man, sure. Yeah. But I mean, maybe it has more subconscious meaning there. But I mean, yeah, that whole EP is just me like coming to terms of like being okay with myself and like allowing myself to release music instead of being supporting other people.
Yeah.
Like, I have a voice that's worth releasing music for, and I even now saying that I feel uncomfortable saying that. Yeah. But I need to say that.
I feel that, dude. I relate to that.
I think a lot of
so
people
much.
Feel that way.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know where it comes from, but like
I feel like I didn't, because I mean now like I'm in a band, I play music, I'm in a band that I love, like I play music for a lot of other musicians now, I play drums and stuff, I'm always writing stuff, and it's like even if it's just for me, I'm happy that I've got to a place where I feel more comfortable doing it, because I love Above the Bridge so much, but like beginning to play music again reminded me why I fell in love with this in the first place. Yeah. And maybe there's like another world where like if I was more secure in myself, I would have pursued that full-heartedly. And it's a part of me that like I'd love to like, expand upon in the future and be like, okay, maybe like let me try writing a little bit, let me try to do whatever. But it's like, I think that is very much a thing. I think there's a lot of people who like are in bands that like really, really would just struggle with being a face, or struggle with like doing, like I feel like that with Above the Bridge for a long time, and I think I just now have gotten to a point where I feel comfortable being a face of something. But I didn't like I started interviewing people because I love stories, but not my story, their story. Yeah. And I didn't even really want to be on camera doing it, but it was like no one else was going to do it, so I was like I had to, or else it wasn't going to happen, know. But it was like I started creating the things that I wanted to see in interviews, and it was because like I wanted to allow people to tell their story. It wasn't until like maybe a year ago where I realized my story is worth telling.
Dude, and that's why I came in yesterday.
Yeah.
To borrow the light, and you were like, "I'm just doing this for myself." And I'm like, "Fuck yeah!"
Thanks, man.
Like that's sick. That's the way to. That's the way.
I want to show it to you. That finished, by the way.
That's like I just love when people are making. I catch somebody like making something, and they're like, I'll probably just throw it away, but it's really fun to make. Yeah. I'm like, dude, it's like the Mac DeMarco clip. Like, I think that is like the best clip about music of all time. It's just like it's garbage, but it's fun to make. Like
which one was that? What was
there's like there's a clip of him in an interview, and like I think it went viral a bit of him just being like showing this like really kind of like goofy like funk song, and now it's like a fucking TikTok song, but like it was like before that, and he was like, "Yeah, it's garbage, but it was really fun to make." Like, dude, like,
I love that.
I mean, I would say what you want about Mac DeMarco, but that is like genius shit.
That's amazing.
So simplified and so perfect about music.
That level of like self-reflection that is like represented in a lot of the songs. Okay, how do you get to that place in your writing process? Because in my head, it'd be very hard to admit those things to yourself without writing them down first, or I imagine it'd be a process, because it's like you're very much writing, at least how I perceive it, from songs about you, but not just like your life, about like your brain and your psychology and the things that make Jake. When you're like figuring those things out, how do you get to that process, and then how do you translate them into songs? Like, do you write them? Are they like excerpts that you written down first that aren't lyrics, or like?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question, because like I mean, to be honest, like the self-deprecation parts of my songs,
Mm-hmm.
they came very easy. Like that's how my brain was wired. So like,
Yeah.
to be honest, like trying to not talk about that was hard. Like talking about like what the fuck, like I can't even love myself sometimes, or like myself sometimes. That's, you know, I feel like, I mean, I hope that people don't relate to that, because that sucks. But like I that's what it came easy to write about that. But for writing music in general, like I feel like I think for that first EP I had a really subconscious way of doing it, and like writing, I had this big list of, you know, phrases that I hear in the world that I think sound cool, and sometimes I just throw that and just go from there. Not necessarily like a general idea of what I'm going to write about. And then I start to write like just genuinely like random subconscious, like start with a melody and like mouth words.
Yeah.
And then like just kind of like sing a melody, mouth words. And then you're like, why did I just say uncomfortable? Or like just like, and like sometimes like you follow that like weird subconscious thing that you said. And then it becomes like this thing that you're like, wow, I felt like I just like unleashed a subconscious part of my brain.
Yeah.
And that was like a really fun way to do it, because I felt like I didn't know what to write about. And I was like, all right, how do I write about it? And then I would just let my subconscious like just go. I mean, it wasn't just like, I wasn't like, it takes a lot of songs to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I took throwing away so many songs to do that. But like the ones that where I really like, I was like, oh, wow, like, this song might be about this. I'm going to keep writing about that. Like just discovering, and like, I mean, I would say almost all of the EP is just like subconscious weird writing, grabbing words that just like randomly would pop in my head, and just like, I'm like, oh, like that's what the song's about.
Yeah.
Like, why did that happen? That's crazy. But now I think I do things like slightly different, but like trying to come in with more of like a general story. But I don't know. I think it's special to write like that sometimes. Just like not be like, you know, I'm going to write the song about me, like, you know, going to a party and like, I see the girl I like or whatever. Just being like, I'm just going to write some cool phrases down, see what happens, and then discover what it's about. And like sing the melody. Maybe I'll say something and like, I'm like, oh, okay. Just like trying to be really, I think it's a matter of like trying to be as present as possible. Yeah. And not try to overplan things. Just like, do it like that. But also like I write music like straight up sometimes, like on a guitar, just like I need to write about this. Yeah. You know? But a lot of the EP, I'm just saying, is just like fucking self-deprecating, like just like subconscious thoughts.
But I feel like that might be why it feels so like it's from your brain.
Yeah.
You know, like it feels like it's from your brain. And I think that's probably why. It's like that, what is that kind of therapy called, where like they put you in a room and you close your eyes, they put a blindfold on you, and you start like throwing paint at like a canvas, and they see what you like subconscious or what you make, and then like you try to like figure out what it is, you know, what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what that's called,
but you know what I'm talking about though?
I totally know what you mean. Like just like, because I didn't know how to write music like at all when I was doing EP. Like, I mean, I've done it before, I've done it for other people, I've never done it for myself. And I think that whole EP is just like a real self-discovery of like how to do this, and like how to find my voice, and the song, and like it was almost that process of like figuring out what the heck I'm talking about, and that voice is like, that is why the EP I think is special. Not that it's necessarily great in some sort of ways, but like, some songs I like more than others, but like just it's just such an obvious, like, to me, an obvious, like, wow, I was really like figuring stuff out. Like some songs just like are so not on the grain of like songwriting and like in general, and like it's just funny because I didn't write like a lot of choruses that, except for like Deadbeat, like a lot of choruses that are like not like, they're all like really wordy and like not really like let's go here we go tonight, you know. It's not like, it's, you don't repeat it like 5 times. It's like
at the
it's just like these weird
the
like,
end of the night.
It makes like the instead of that, it's like these weird like
red brick build me a home.
Like weird like metaphor, or I don't even know. And like I think that's why it's special, not necessarily good, Not just in some people's eyes, but like
It's like watching you in live time try to explain how to not self-deprecate while self-deprecating.
exactly. It's like
It's not good, but
no,
like,
I mean, you know what I mean. Like, I'm not saying that it's like good because of that. I'm just saying it's really itself because of that, and you might say it's good because of that. But I mean, I think at the very least, it's its own thing.
well, that's what I love about it, dude. Like that's what I love about your music, and then what I love about you as a person. It's like it's just honesty. Like I feel like for better or for worse, this is you, and that's what you get. You know.
Thank you, dude. I really appreciate that because
Of course,
I mean, I
bro.
really think that like the last time I talked here, I'm realizing like I think I was like, oh, I can't even listen to those songs. Like, I can't listen to some of those songs on the EP. And like just very recently, I like listened back to it, and I didn't like overthink about it on like a what's up, Mario? Didn't overthink about it like on like a songwriting and any sort of way. I just like listened for the first time, and like I don't know, like a year and a half. I hadn't listened to songs a long time, and then I was just like, you know what, like this is very itself. Like I don't know a lot of other things that sound like this. Like I'm proud of that, and that's the first time I've ever said that to myself. Like I'm proud to like have made that EP instead of being like constantly like, oh, this lyric sucks, or like this part could have been better. It's like I never had that moment of just being like, you know what, this is cool, and like who cares? Like it's fine, like you're good.
That's
you know?
growth, dude. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's got to be such a rewarding and like fulfilling process.
Yeah,
you know,
I
to,
mean,
like,
it took a long fucking. I think it was like 2 months ago.
yeah.
So it's like it took a year. Wow. So I mean, fucking music, man. It's weird. It
But
takes
I'm
a long
happy for
time.
you, bro.
Thank you.
That's like amazing, and I'm happy that you can see it because it is like seriously like, and it's like I would tell you this if you weren't my friend, but it is a project that really touches me in a lot of ways, and it's
Thank
like
you, dude.
and I think it's because it's so you. It's like a lot of lyrics on the project to me are like things that I know about myself but had never heard anybody else say, or things I know about myself but had never known how to explain or how to put into words. And that's why I think to me it feels so like an exploration of your mind, you know, and in a really, really cool and like super honest way. And
uneducated way, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
It's like this. It's totally like I said, over anti-intellectualism.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything. I knew a lot about guitar, but I didn't know anything really about songwriting. So it's just like me figuring something out, and I think that's something that's really interesting. Like I wish I could do it again. Like I wish I could not. I wish I
make
could
your first project again.
Yeah. Like the other day, I like edited a video myself, and like I was like, man, this is like so hard, and so difficult, and such another world. But I'm having so much fun. Like,
Yeah.
And it's like whatever. The video is cool because like obviously like I've never done it before, and like I don't know. I think it's really interesting. when
And that's
you're
so
learning stuff.
yeah, and that's so like not LA, like that mentality of like being willing to feel dumb. It's interesting. I think the smartest people in the world are the people who are willing to feel dumb.
Yeah,
Because they wanna learn.
They're wrong.
Yeah.
They wanna learn.
Yes.
And like I just think it's not only that, but the process of learning something is so interesting, especially if you release it. You
Yeah.
know? Like I think sometimes that's the best stuff.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, obviously I didn't know what I was doing. It was very subconscious in the moment thing that happened, and I was like, wow, I guess that's the best thing I've done. You know?
Yeah,
It's
for
like,
sure.
The thing that happened in like 20 minutes that I wrote was the best thing I've done, instead
Yeah.
of me pining over this whatever lyric for
It's subconscious,
2
man.
years. Yeah.
It comes out.
Yeah.
Nuffer. I love you, man.
Love you, Dante.
That was like probably like one of my favorite interviews I've ever done. Like I feel like it just felt like a therapy session. Like it felt
I
like
know. I felt
that
like
was so cool.
I hope I wasn't too. I'm not. You know what? I'm about to self-deprecate. I don't even know if
Don't.
this camera's on anymore.
That was
I'm about to self-deprecate, but I'm not going to, because I was going to say I still am going to, but at least I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
That I was going to say that I feel like I like took us on so many rabbit holes.
that's the cool part.
And like that's. I mean, I guess that's cool.
What you perceive as the flaws is actually what makes it cool.
There you go. We're going full circle this whole interview, you know, man.
Tell them where they can get hedge your bets. Tell them where they can pre-save run it back. Tell them I guess not yet, right?
Oh yeah, Run It Back will be soon, but that video I'm excited about. But we hedge your bets with Rafa Rodriguez, the great Rafa Rodriguez.
Shout out to the great Rafa Rodriguez.
Ah, man, that guy.
Legend.
Hedge Your Bets is coming out October 11th, and pre-save that in one of our bios on Instagram or TikTok or whatever.
Nice.
But yeah, that's all I got. That's my only plug.
Thank you for doing this, man.
Thank you, dude.
Love you, bro.
Love you, dude.
All right.
Great combo.
Yes, sir. Music matters.
Music matters.